So, it's been some time, 2 weeks to be exact, and I'm just gonna be straight. I'm incredibly sorry for leaving everyone for 2 weeks. Wait, 2 weeks? So the Walten Files. During the past 2 weeks, multiple theories and ideas have been shown within the Walten Files fandom, as well as my own comment section stating a few things, so quite excited to go through a few of them today. Let me tell you something, man. Who in their right mind decided to run a fade against an 8-foot animatronic possessed thing? Well, I'll tell you, his name is Charles Burke.
A fierce warrior, a killer made hero, a man made a god.
So this is a pretty famous theory already within the fandom. Basically everyone thinks that Bon and Charles had a scrap and, well, sadly Big Charles lost, but who's winning, Bon or John Jones? Anyways, is Charles on that timing? So if we look at the episode of the Walten Files 4, you can see that Bon looks pretty clean, right? He's not too scrappy. So why am I talking about his drip right now? Because if you compare him to the newest episode when he's talking to Rosemary, he looks kind of scrappy. Like, you can see a pretty visible hole in the top half of his torso. Also, there seems to be a crack going through his head, so that's interesting. And he does look much dirtier compared to the encounter he had with Susan, but that might just be because of the murders he's had to do and I guess just existing low-key. But also in that scene where Rosemary enters the restaurant after being lured in by Bon, you can see a split frame of Charles' hands where they seem to be bloodied and roughened, potentially indicating that he did potentially fight back, as well as multiple cuts on his face, one on his right cheek as well as one cut going through his whole forehead. But with the fighting, obviously take it with a grain of salt because it hasn't been confirmed by the Walten family. Onto another actual theory, or point anyways, that I saw. I didn't even notice this myself, but Ed and Molly were actually spying on Rosemary, kind of the same way that Bon had in the pictures that I will display now. But also, the fact how Bon follows and creeps on the family, not before Jack goes missing, but after, tickles me in a weird way. But this could just be the Walten Files crew playing me into a wrong turn. Returning back to Rocket now, with a bit of editing, you can see that Rocket is in the back of the scene, as well as the back of this scene, which, in this room alone, and this just scene alone, the whole room actually gone mad. It was a crazy scene. Davji the Crazy Gamer. A comment from GKH1022, which thank you for the comment, really do appreciate that. They state how during the episode at 56:53 minutes and seconds, you can see a missing poster with the big Susan Woodings, the very big Charles Burke, and this random guy. I don't know if this could potentially be literally a random guy, but things like this don't happen. Must be a link with him and the series. He also states that if you were to alter his face slightly, he would look like Bon. Now, I don't really see it as much, but I do think that this guy could have some future importance in the series if he is being shown in any way. And who knows, maybe I'm blind as shit and he actually does look like Bon. But there was also another guy who can be seen within the My Soul video next to this random guy, Susan and Charles. And this guy's name's Alan, but I'm not too sure if he's important as well. So anyway, okay, now but I made up a theory that might either make absolutely no sense or people go,
I tell you what though, folks, that's bloody nice. That is bloody lovely.
I think Bon has a slight god complex. I think the reason he wanted to change Rosemary and Charles and Susan was because he wanted them to be in his world. Oh well, what he thought was kind of his world, but in the world of the Wonderland, which is kind of obvious even though Wonderland isn't exactly his. I think the reason he wanted to change Rosemary, Charles and Susan was because he wanted them to be in the world of the Wonderland, which is kind of obvious even though Wonderland isn't exactly his, as it has been stated within the lore that it has been a hub for the souls, like a purgatory, prior Bon. At the very start of the video we can see that the statue Venus de Milo is shown, which is associated with the Greek goddess Aphrodite, who is the goddess of pleasure, love, but more importantly, beauty and procreation. Now Bon already is a big fan of this whole beauty thing, talking about how Susan in episode 4 would burst into a beautiful butterfly, and a repetition of the Sophie you are beautiful. So he has a huge thing for this beauty thing, Jordan Barrett basically. You can also hear a slight twist on the old classic.
Here are YouTubers who rap. First, Dream.
So what do I think about this? I think Bon isn't actually Jack. I think Bon is a cultist who praised Bon's burger in a cult-like manner. That's what I would say if I was off my fucking rocker. But at the very end of the video, you can see Charmaire. You can see her as an angel, which is disturbing to say the least, you know, with her head and arms being cut off like that. But angels are almost like a soldier of God. They follow out tasks set to them by God within Christianity. At the very end of the video, you can see Bon controlling Rosemary to say some words, which I previously did say seemed to be more in a psychotic loving way that Bon may hold towards deeper feelings of love, but I think that can actually come to the point that Bon is a false God, which does make sense, as he tries to almost seem like he runs the Wonderland. Yes, he did state that he did what everyone else did, but he has the confidence when he talks, like he kind of owns the place, although trying to show off is more like a false god. Bon holds some type of favoritism towards Rosemary, so whoever Bon is, either he's trying to play God or some higher being by making everyone beautiful, or he is actually a huge fan of the Wonderland show and is trying to recreate the family show within that. I mean, Bon is caught up in all the episodes, I believe, so an angel told me. Talking about that, let's talk about that quote. Sophie mentions how an angel talked to her, which is obviously Bon, which, although my point about how Bon was above Charles and Susan and how they were his disciples, Bon may have been given the task by someone he would view as an upper. Or through his messed up and twisted mind, he may have thought that this was the true way of escape, which, if we analyse the conversation between Rosemary and Bon does definitely hold this high regard towards the change. Bon himself literally states how he himself was a victim, and how his body was burnt and rotted. So Bon himself is not like a god, but he was shown the light and wanted to convert others through these means. He himself fully states how he was born anew and beautiful, and he probably saw this gift that was put to him. Now I think Bon is Jack, and was made this way by Felix during the altercation that he may have had on the phone call Jack had with Rosemary before passing to the potential injuries he may have sustained within the situation. So once Felix had dealt with Jack, he may have potentially stuffed Bon as a way to hide the body, but this could have almost acted as a catalyst to create Bon, the spirit. Jack might potentially have gone through the death and saw the peace of the Wonderland, and because I still believe his mind was altered in a way where his more sadistic and aggressive emotions came out more than his more calmer and loving feelings. Because I still believe his mind was altered in a way. I think he saw this sadistic method as a way to help his family and friends. As we can see in the picture that Susan, Charles, Rosemary, Jack, Felix are all together, and they are named as the BSI family. He obviously didn't want to help Felix, as Felix caused him the pain and anger of the death of Ed and Molly, so he might be helping the other people that he deems family to him as a way to protect them from Felix from hurting them, but instead comes as more just a serial killer and no good. I also think something kind of important to note is Jack is a Christian. It's stated within the wiki, as well as evidence literally being shown to us, how the funeral of Ed and Molly occurred in the same church as the marriage of Jack and Rose being in the Brighton Community Church. Such things normally happen with Christians. So the reason I bring up Jack being a Christian is because Bon has a lot of links with, I would say, Christianity.
He was whipping up.
Because he has the links with Sophie calling him an angel. You have Rosemary, who he also, fucking hell, car outside my fucking house. Can you shut the fuck up? Fucking plonker. Absolutely. And you also got Bon talking to Rosemary, talking about how he's going to make her beautiful, which this whole theme with beauty is linked through God's Persephone, not a Christian God, but that's when we look more into the Bible quotes of renewal and of the spiritual body and the physical body, and those things which have a link with the Wonderlanders. In episode 4, you could see that Susan Wooding's body was separate to her spiritual body, which was shown in the Wonderland, whereas her physical body was dying. Bon said that. Okay, I don't know, bro. Someone outside is doing fucking donuts. Like, what the hell?
My boy in the Austin say he doing donuts.
Hey! Oh my God. My boy said he's in the Austin doing donuts.
Also, I do want to talk about like how Bon looks like, because Bon has a very illuminating figure. He has a black tie, shows his character a lot, and I do have another point I do want to get into with how could lead to Jack, but tie is quite a big thing with him. But I do think how he's almost just white shows it an angelic kind of theme towards him. It creates a peaceful and innocent vibe to him, which is very, very contrasting to his character. So I do think that was also something to mention. Something I also do want to talk about is within the My Soul episode. Something I thought was interesting enough to talk about is how you have Rosemary's diary. Within the diary you can see a drawing which shows a little sketch behind the scribbling. It's very obviously supposed to be Jack, but the face has almost a sinister like smile as well as the tie, which Bon also has those two characteristics. But something even more interesting is that you can see a drawing and then some text below saying, "You were my masterpiece." Now, I don't know if the drawing is supposed to be Rosemary or Sophie, but I'm leaning more towards Sophie, even though nothing has exactly happened to Sophie at this point. Although the fact how he's saying "you were my masterpiece" could potentially be because of how Sophie escaped to the aunt's house instead of staying at their house, which could have actually been something keeping her alive at this point, as Bon was seen to be stalking the house previously. Also, I do think that the hair isn't as accentuated as Rosemary's hair in every other sketch and drawing, as well as how the style of clothing looks a bit more like Sophie's rather than Rosemary, with the yellow jumper that she wears compared to the more blue looking spotted shirts that Sophie wears. But I'll be honest, I could be chatting absolute donkey shit. Anyways, the next few videos might be a bit slight different to this, but I hope everyone still enjoys them, and if you got something to say it down below. I'd love to hear the feedback from everyone, even if it's hate, it's all good. Also, if you like the video, well, and if you really fuck with the vibe, maybe press that shiny red button. We are incredibly close to 300 subscribers, so if you could, I'll really appreciate that from you guys. Anyways, follow for more booming content. Let's go. Anyways, enough of the joking around. I hope you all had an amazing day, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I need to make a funny outro, guys. You have any ideas for what a funny outro should be?